The California real estate bubble isn't just leaking, it's experiencing a catastrophic rupture that's sending shockwaves through 10 specific markets the Main Street press refuses to cover. If you own a home in California, if you're trying to buy one, or if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for your shot, what we're about to show you affects you directly, and most of it is not being reported anywhere else on YouTube. In one California city, home values have plummeted over 9% in a single year. In another, the median sale price is down nearly 6%, and homes are sitting on the market 35% longer than they did a year ago. Zillow flipped its national forecast negative for the first time in years. Nearly 1 in 4 U.S. listings has already cut price, the highest rate since at least 2018. The typical California buyer now spends 38% of their income on housing, compared to 20% in the year 2000. And 60% of buyers say they expect to feel house poor after closing. That is not a healthy market. That is a market running out of buyers. And here's the perfect storm that's hitting these 10 cities at the same time. Property insurance premiums over $5,000 a year in wildfire-exposed zones, with major carriers like State Farm, Allstate, and Farmers pulling out of California entirely. Investor ownership at a 30-year high, while single-family rent growth has collapsed to 1.4%, the lowest in 15 years, cutting the legs out from under the investors holding this market up. Debt-to-income ratios on new mortgages averaged over 40%, buyers stretching further to afford these homes than they have in years. That is the convergence of insurance pressure, investor overhang, and affordability destruction, all hitting the same 10 cities at the same time. I'm going to walk you through every single one of them, ranked worst to least worst, using hard data from Redfin, Zillow, ATTOM Data, and Cotality. Not vibes, not thumbnails, receipts. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which California markets are in real trouble, which ones the doom channels are lying to you about, and what to do about it if you live in one. One of these cities is down over 9% in a single year. We'll tell you which one and why the structural pressures driving it aren't going away anytime soon. There's one crashing California city on every other YouTube list that is actually up 16% right now. We'll name it so you stop getting scammed by bad thumbnails. And the single biggest leading indicator, the one that called 2008 18 months early, just flashed red in 4 of these 10 markets. Stay with me. Here's the honest statewide data. Redfin has California's median sale price at roughly $819,200 as of February, down 1.4% year over year. That's not a statewide crash. For context, in 2008, the California median fell 26% in 12 months, with 38% of sales being foreclosures. We are nowhere near that. But statewide averages hide city-level carnage, and the numbers you're about to see make the case that in 10 specific markets, the cracks aren't coming. They're already here. Before I show you the list, I need you to understand the hidden cost, because if you don't, half these numbers won't make sense. In California right now, the sticker price of a home is only half the story. In wildlife-exposed zones, Santa Rosa, Ukiah, Eureka, Chico, large stretches of the North Bay and Sierra foothills, major insurers have pulled out entirely. Homeowners who can still get coverage are being quoted premiums over $5,000 a year, some over $10,000. And if you can't get private insurance, you're pushed onto the California FAIR Plan, which is a stripped-down last resort policy that costs more and covers less. Insurance is now pricing entire California counties out of the home buying market. Think about what that does to buyer math. You take a $600,000 Santa Rosa home where the list price is down 2% year over year. Great, you saved $12,000 on paper. Now add $400 a month in insurance on top of what it used to cost. Over a 30-year mortgage, that erases your discount 3 times over. This is why nominal price drops in wildfire-exposed California are lying to you. The true cost of ownership is going up in these markets, even as the listing price goes down. Keep this in your head as we go through the countdown, because for half the cities on this list, insurance is the story underneath the story. Number 10, Riverside. Median sale price around $579,000, down mid-single digits year over year. Days on market creeping up, inventory expanding. Riverside rode the pandemic boom harder than almost any Southern California metro. And now it's giving some of that back. Not a crash, a reset. Buyers here suddenly have negotiating leverage they haven't had in 4 years. Number 9, Sacramento. This is the one most owners don't notice until it's too late. Zillow has the typical Sacramento home at roughly $472,863, down about 2.9% over the past year. Active listings up 9.2%. New listings up 5.5%. Sellers arriving, buyers pulling back, list prices drifting down month after month. This is what a slow bleed looks like. And in a market this big, a slow bleed is worse than a sudden drop, because by the time you feel it in your home value, you've already missed your window to sell at the top. Number 8, Stockton. Redfin has the Stockton market softening meaningfully, declining sales to list ratios, longer days on market, and rising inventory. Stockton got absolutely hammered in 2008. It was ground zero of the last California crash, with entire subdivisions going back to the banks. The equity position today is much stronger. Most Stockton owners are sitting on substantial equity cushions, but the affordability math is just as broken as it was in 2006. And affordability is what breaks first. Quick thing here. If you're getting value out of this and you want the city-by-city breakdowns we're doing every week on the major markets, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're not trying to scare you into clicking. We're trying to make sure that you actually see these videos when the next leg down starts, because YouTube won't show them to you unless the bell is on. Do it now so you don't miss it. Let's keep going. Number 7, Bakersfield. Local market reports show about 163 homes sold in February at a median of roughly $406,000. Days on market, around 80 days, elevated compared to the pandemic-era pace. Local blogs are increasingly reporting sellers using price cuts and buyer concessions to move inventory. Bakersfield isn't collapsing on price yet, but the buyer pool is clearly thinning, and when the buyer pool thins out, price follows. Number 6, Fresno. Fresno is the leading indicator red flag. Redfin shows the median sale price down 5.9% year over year to about $390,000. Homes are now sitting on the market 50 days, up from 37 days last year. That's a 35% expansion in how long it takes to sell a home. When you see price drops and days on market both accelerating at the same time, that's the exact sequence that played out in the Inland Empire 18 months before the 2008 crash hit the coast. Fresno is the frog in the pot, and the water is visibly heating up. Number 5, Santa Rosa. Zillow Home Value Index roughly $718,726, down 2.2%. Stacker's data pegs the median sale price around $781,500, with a clear year-over-year decline. And remember what I told you about insurance? Santa Rosa is wildfire country ground zero. The listed price decline is real, but the total cost of ownership decline is a mirage. Number 4, Chico. Stacker shows roughly a 3.5% year-over-year median decline. Chico is small, it's slow, and it's softening quietly, which is exactly why it flies under the radar while bigger metros grab headlines. Same insurance pressure as the rest of Northern California, same thin buyer pool, same slow downward drift. Number 3, Eureka. Zillow has Eureka at roughly $410,992, down 4% over the past year. Far Northern California, small market, thin liquidity, and maximum wildfire and insurance pressure. And when small markets roll over, they tend to roll harder because there aren't enough buyers to catch the knife. Real quick, I know some of you watching right now are thinking, okay, but what about my city? Drop it in the comments. We read them, we track them, and the cities that get mentioned the most are the ones we cover next. That's how this channel works. Subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell, and let's get to the top 2, because these are the ones you actually need to pay attention to. Number 2, Ukiah. Zillow Home Value Index around $479,526, down 4.3% year over year. Small Mendocino County market, thin buyer pool, maximum insurance pressure, and price decline that's accelerating, not slowing. If you're watching this from Ukiah, the data says the bottom isn't in. Number 1, Oakland. Zillow has the typical Oakland home at roughly $700,829, down 9.1% over the past year. 9.1% in a single year. This is the steepest drop of any major California city on this list, and it's happening in a market that was supposed to be insulated by Bay Area tech money. Oakland is leading the state lower, and the reasons: office vacancy, outmigration, insurance, tax pressure, the downtown retail corridor collapse. None of those are going away in the next 12 months. Oakland is the frog the pot already boiled. And with those structural pressures still in place, the data gives no clear signal that the bottom is in. And here's what makes Oakland and Fresno and Bakersfield and Riverside even more dangerous than the headline numbers suggest. Who is actually buying California homes right now? According to Cotality and Parcel Labs data, 30% of all single-family home purchases in early 2025 were made by investors. That is a 30-year high. 3 out of every 10 homes sold in this country is going to someone who never plans to live in it. And here's what those investors are dealing with at the same time. According to the Lending One Investor Survey, 57% of single-family investors believe mortgage rates will stay above 6.5% for the next 12 months. Nearly 60% say rising insurance premiums have directly cut into their cash flow, and single-family rent growth just slowed to 1.4% year over year, the lowest in 15 years. Think about what's happening. Investors are buying more homes than they have in a generation, but rents aren't keeping up. Insurance is eating the margin, and mortgage rates won't let them refinance. When those investors reach the point where cash flow goes negative, they sell. And when a market is 30% investor-owned and those investors start hitting the exits at the same time, you don't get a soft landing, you get forced selling. This is what we think the doom channels are getting right, even when they get the numbers wrong. The investor overhang in Oakland, Fresno, Bakersfield, and Riverside is a second leg down waiting to happen, and it would hit fast. Now, let me clear up something important, because this is going to save some of you from a bad decision. Every other California crash video on YouTube is putting San Francisco on their list. Here's what the actual February data shows. San Francisco single-family median home prices are up over 16% year over year. Countrywide median up 7.7%. San Francisco is not crashing, it's ripping. If a channel told you otherwise, they either didn't pull the data or they're hoping you wouldn't. Same with San Bernardino. Technically down about 2%, but price per square foot is firm and inventory is still tight. That's not a collapse, that's a wiggle. Our job on this channel is to tell you what the numbers actually say, not what gets clicks. And the numbers say those two cities don't belong on this list. So here's the question I know you're asking. Is this 2008 all over again? I'm going to give you the most honest answer I can because your financial future might depend on it. Here's where 2026 is structurally safer than 2008. In 2008, over 236,000 California homes were lost to foreclosure in a single year. ATTOM Data shows roughly 367,460 foreclosure filings nationwide in all of 2025, up 14% from 2024. But still 86% below the 2009 peak. Average loan to value today is around 44%. In 2008, it was 85%. Roughly 70% of mortgage holders are locked in at or below 5%. Lending standards are tight. No doc and subprime lending is essentially gone. Inventory is moderate, about 3.8 months nationally, not the 10-plus months of oversupply we had in 2007. On those 5 metrics, this is a completely different market. Now, here's where 2026 is actually more dangerous than 2008. And this is the part nobody on YouTube is walking through honestly. Debt-to-income ratios on new mortgages are averaging 40.5%, and Ginnie Mae borrowers are at 45.1%. Buyers are stretching to the edge. Insurance costs didn't exist as a major risk in 2008. They do now, and they're structurally rising. Property taxes are being reassessed off of peak valuations, so even if your home value drops, your tax bill doesn't. Rent growth has collapsed while investor ownership has hit a 30-year high. That combination is genuinely new, and climate risk is being priced into mortgages and insurance in a way it simply wasn't a cycle ago. So here's the honest take. we are probably not getting a 2008-style nationwide collapse. Mainstream forecasts from CAR, Zillow, and Fannie Mae are actually calling for flat to low single-digit price growth statewide in 2026. Not a crash, but in specific California cities, the 10 on this list, particularly Oakland, Ukiah, Fresno, and Bakersfield, the declines already on the board could get meaningfully worse before this is over. Oakland is already down 9% in a single year. If you just bought a home in one of these markets with 5% down, even another few percent from here would put you underwater. That's the real risk to understand. Not a cinematic nationwide crash, but a slow, painful city-specific reset that these statewide averages are hiding. If you're a buyer in one of these 10 markets, you finally have leverage. Use it. Offer below list. Ask for concessions. And get insurance quotes before you go under contract. That's not negotiable in California now. Do not chase. If you're a seller, price ahead of the market, not behind it, because 23.5% of listings nationally are already cutting price, and the sellers who cut first cut least. If you're an investor, cash flow only. Do not buy for appreciation in a Fresno or an Oakland right now. Run the numbers with real insurance quotes and realistic rent growth, not 2021 rent growth. And if you're a renter waiting for your shot, watch Bakersfield, Fresno, and Stockton. That's where the entry points are going to open first. That's it. That's the list. 10 California cities where home prices are dropping fast, the insurance and investor pressure nobody else is talking about, and the honest comparison to 2008, all ranked by the actual data. If this video helped you cut through the noise, do us a favor. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and share this with someone who's thinking about buying in California this year. They need to see it before they make a six-figure mistake. We'll see you in the next one.